Okay, so right now I want to talk about Waiting for October. I really only found out about this show because I was looking for promo swaps to do with Apocalypse Radio, and this is one of the shows that reached out to me. But they just recently released recently being like October 31st, released their prologue, and they have now 6 episodes total, meaning, let me think, a prologue, an episode 1, an episode 1.5, episode 2, 2.5, and 3. So depending on how you count that, the 0.5s are like lore building stuff. They aren't really essential to the story you're listening to. In fact, I would recommend that you listen to the 2.5 episodes. Sorry, the 1.5 and the 2.5, those 2 episodes. I would recommend you listen to them after listening to the main story, because it kind of just took me out of it. I liked them, but they were not as fun and entertaining for me as the main story was. Speaking of the main story, however, it is amazing. I love the characters so much. Especially, I think, it was in episode 1, I believe, where a certain character shows up, brings some tension that I love, and Karo, one of the main characters, reacts in a very interesting way, and then Yvonne, their girlfriend, supports them afterward, of course, and that is what sold me on shipping them. Like, it was such a cute, sweet moment, and that's essentially Heart Comfort in a nutshell. So that did really great on that aspect, I think, and kind of sold me on the show. Also, the show is just fun. Like, there's a moment... okay, I don't want to spoil anything, but there are characters that just howl in the middle of words, and I love that. It's so fun. Let's see. Some things I didn't like. Charlene's voice at first, a bit too similar to Yvonne's. I think maybe this is just me being not good at distinguishing voices, because I did get used to it pretty soon. But at first, I was confused and thought it was Yvonne when it was actually a new character, Charlene. But I did get used to it. I also listen to things a little bit out of order. So I listened to episode 1 and then realized, oh shit, I never finished listening to the prologue. So I went back and listened to the prologue. And this confused me a little bit because in episode 1, so Karo and Yvonne are talking about how Karo came from October, which is not a spoiler. It's just kind of like a thing about the show. A very intro thing is that Karo is from October, the world of monsters. And they're just talking about it casually. So I expected in the prologue to hear Karo actually telling Yvonne that they came from October. But I think that happens off screen, because in the prologue, Karo is acting like, oh, this is just a monster story. It's a fun bedtime story. And Yvonne seems to accept it as such. And then by episode 1, they are in October. So I kind of wish we had been able to hear the actual conversation. Maybe we'll hear that in a 0.5 episode. I would really like that. Or maybe a bonus episode or something. Yeah, that would be really cool. But who knows? Who knows what they have in store? Another thing, the woofs from the wilds were a bit weird sometimes. I love the howls, of course, it's fun. But sometimes it took me out of it a little bit, just how out of nowhere it came, or when it just didn't really match with what they were saying. Also, maybe this is just me being too aromantic, but I don't like hearing the kissing noises. It's not good for me. It's not good audio-wise. It's not excessive. It's just like, 1 or 2 kissing noises. It's not a big deal. But I guess it's necessary. It's a romance. And it does show that, they're close. They're a sweet couple. I love this couple. But, yeah, it's just me being too aromantic. Also, there is a puke sound, a metaphobia warning, in episode 2. It's not a big deal. It's very short, but I kind of didn't like how short it was. It just felt like a splat, and it was a little rough. Like, it took me out of it for sure. It ruined the immersion a little bit. Reminded me that this is an audio drama, which, by the way, speaking of the sound design, it's very good. It's one of those things where, for the most part, you don't notice it, which is great. It just kind of blends into the story and helps take you into that world. And it's not something that you really consciously think of. There are a few points where I was like, okay, that was weird. This is a show being sound designed. Specifically, like, There was a moment when a bunch of bats appeared, and I was like, what the fuck kind of sound was that? Sorry. What the hell kind of sound was that? And then one of the characters said, oh, bats. And I was like, oh, yeah, I guess that makes sense. But, like, it wasn't the best. However, where the hell are they going to get actual bat noises? You know, like, that's a hard sound to find, so I'll give them some grace on that. Okay, episode 2, The Woods. I felt Yvonne's pain. I am disabled also. I have HDS, and I use a cane. I'm about to transition to a wheelchair. Oh my god, I would be dying in this episode if I were Yvonne. I don't know how she still, like, stays standing. I totally understand when she needs to sit down. She is going to be out of commission for days. Karo, you are lovely, but you gotta slow down, my friend. Your girlfriend is suffering. Episode 2.5, fun, but I am glad I listened to it after episode 3. They definitely go, the 0.5 eps definitely go better as a side thing. 2.5 was a little more fun. I listened to it on 2 times speed, which I'm ashamed to admit, but it dragged on a little bit. The same with Charlene's, with the 1.5. It was very fun, it just wasn't what I was looking forward to hearing. Like, I wanted to hear the main story, you know? It's cool lore, though. If you want to hear more about the world and the monsters within it, then it's worth listening to, for sure. Just, you know, it's different from the main story. As for Headspace afterward, it was great. Episode 2 stressed me out a little bit, at some points. I think it was just Karo getting upset, which, don't get me wrong, I love the tension. It's just, I have a thing, you know, where it's like, people get upset and I automatically want to fix it. It was so real, Karo's voice acting. I loved it. But it did have me a little tense. But by the end, I was fine. And I left in a good headspace. So that's an A+ for me. Ratings. I don't even know how I'm going to do this rating system. Characters, I love. I love the characters. I'm going to give that a 10 out of... Wait. 10 out of 5? 5 out of 5? It's great. Plot... So far, it's mostly... There is some external conflict in episode 2. Overarching, though, it's mostly internal conflict with Karo's, like, past. Their history. And that's fine. That's totally fine. However, I wonder if that's going to be exclusively what we're dealing with, if their relationship is going to be under some strain because of all this, if Yvonne's disability is going to... I guess, act up, like, cause more problems, which there are some problems caused by Yvonne's disability. It's not a thing that's swept aside. It is a very prominent thing, especially in episode 2. I love that. And that is another external plot problem, I guess. But overarching, I'm not sure where it's going yet. I'm willing to listen and find out, for sure. But, I don't know, I couldn't tell you outright, this is the plot, this is the problem they're trying to solve, that kind of thing. As for fun, very fun. We have some super fun characters. The relationship between the 2 main characters, Yvonne and Karo, it's almost like too sweet, like too perfect sometimes. I love it. They're so sweet. I ship them so much. I think they're an adorable couple. But sometimes it's like, argue a little more. But I suspect that will come with time. They can't be perfect forever. And right now, they're just a very wholesome, healthy relationship. Like, they're shockingly healthy. Which is good. It's a shock for sure, but it's good. I guess that's most of what I have to say about this. I was really excited to see a main character cane user. That's freaking awesome. Very fun. I enjoyed it. I would recommend it. Definitely. It's a good show. I'm excited to see what comes next. And, oh, by the way, these are the people that made, I might pronounce this wrong, Moonbase Theta out. They made that show, which I've heard is also great. So, worth looking at, for sure. Take a look at this. It's a good audio drama. It's fun so far. It has me wanting more. I have followed, and I am on the edge of my seat waiting for the next episode. So I definitely recommend it. Waiting for October by Monkey Man Productions, I think. Let me check. Hold on. Waiting for October by DJ Silvis on Spotify at least, but their website is monkeymanproductions.com/waiting-for-October. Also, I think the okay, I might be wrong about this. I think the jack-o'-lantern head on their character art on the website is Uncle Lantern. And the second from the right, the werewolf, is gray with the raven, I think. Is the middle one Charlene? Like, I was picturing a mermaid, I guess. But, I mean, that's cool as hell. How does Charlene actually get people over? Like, is there a boat Charlene drags along? Do they ride on Charlene's back? Maybe I need to re-listen to episode 1.5, because I was a little out of it when I listened to that. I will give it another shot and come back. Alright, I am back. And I have read the transcript this time to make sure I was really focusing on it for episode 1.5. There's definitely a lot of lore, very cool, very descriptive, like, beautiful prose kind of thing. I'm still not sure how the crossing works or how Charlene guides people across the lake. But regardless, it's a cool episode. Charlene is very cool, very fun, a very strong personality. Let's see, what other notes did I have? Oh, the pull. So, I don't want to spoil anything, but it does add some context to episode 2 a little bit, which I'm grateful to have. I'm going to stand by my thought, though, that these episodes should be listened to apart from the main story. I think listening to the story 1, 2, 3, 1.5, 2.5 is the best way to go right now. Maybe that'll change with time, but that's what I'm recommending for now. So, Waiting for October, Monkey Man Productions, DJ Silvis, monkeymanproductions.com/waiting-for-October. Oh, I have found confirmation that Lake Monster is indeed Charlene, and I'm looking at the character art up close now. Looks so cool. I love it. Ooh, does Karo have pointed ears? That's cool. I love the character designs. They're so neat. I selfishly want to have an episode where Yvonne is in a wheelchair, just to, like, make me more comfortable with it. But, hey, her having a cane, that's enough. I am sold on it. I love this show. It's so good, and I know it's going to continue being so good, so give it a shot. It's worth it. Waiting for October. Without further ado, here's the trailer.
Come on, tell me more about your monster world.
Right. October is one of the written worlds. Places that exist because we need them to tell stories. It might be the oldest, because it serves one of the deepest needs. It is a world that's made of monsters.
Here we go.
Gargoyles, working construction, and gremlins in the machinery. Trolls and the lindworm and were creatures in the forest. Gill folks in the rivers and kaiju beyond the mountains. The moonkin and the puka. And I know at least one skeleton by name.
I'm gonna stop you before the Jabberwock and the Jubjumpbird. I get the picture. It'd sure be something if that were a place where we could actually go, wouldn't it, Karo?
Yeah, it sure would be.
Waiting for October, a queer supernatural audio drama from Monkey Man Productions. Find us in all your podcast apps. The story starts this Halloween.